Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. This is just sort of a continuation to the conversation that we were sort of having before. I have looked over some of the comments, and the prevailing air is thank you for making this video. Thank you for voicing what many people in the African American community have been feeling in reference to this issue. It, More thank yous than anything else, and more I agree. So we understand that there is this feeling amongst many in the African American Muslim community in reference to this topic. There's this feeling of, exactly what I explained. I don't want to go backwards, but, if you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch the first video. There was one comment on the video that sort of made me reflect and think a little bit. And the brother said that the white Muslim in America is obligated to help in this situation. They are obligated to fight against racism and white privilege and all of these types of things. And I thought about that. The claim in Islam, the claim of the people, we know what Islam says. So what we're talking about is the difference between theory and practice. There is no racism. There is no bias based on skin color. There is no, special privilege based on skin color. This is what Islam tells us. We know this. But we know that in practice that that's not true. So the brother said that the white Muslims are obligated to sort of help to rectify this situation. Obligated. I am obligated by law, to pay taxes. I am obligated to care for my family by getting up every day, going to work, dealing with a boss, so on and so forth. I am obligated to do certain things. And sometimes we do things out of obligation, but not out of necessarily sincere desire. That if we had an option 2 or an option B, we very well may take the other option. So I say that to say what? We claim within the Ummah, and this is what's said many times in videos and lectures and things of this nature, that we are one Ummah, that we are together, that there is no racism, that, these issues are not really our issues per se. The obligation aspect of this, I would say I would rather have aid in this specific issue, out of sincerity. There's a difference between obligation and sincerity. There's a difference between obligation and sincere desire to want rectification and change for good. There's a difference between obligation and feeling the pain and having empathy and knowing that your brother or your sister are going through something and you want to fix this situation to help relieve that stress, that pain, that day-to-day heavy feeling that many African Americans feel walking around in America, let alone being Muslim and, dressing as a Muslim and, all of that. So for a white Muslim to speak out against racism, to speak out against white privilege, to identify and have conversation without debate, and just to listen to what African Americans are saying, as far as especially the African American Muslims, because I'm talking about the Muslims right now, um, and have this done out of sincerity. I welcome it and I accept it, and I think that's something that would make the situation better. But to do it because you're obligated, or you feel like, obligation can come with burden. The feeling of, this is a burden, I really don't want to do it. So personally, I can only speak for me. I would rather have the aid, the conversation, the help, out of sincerity, out of the desire to want to rectify a situation that is affecting a part of the Ummah, especially here in America. And to be honest, I mean, it's worldwide. White supremacy and the likes is an apparatus that extends worldwide. It's not just here in America, but this is where I happen to be for the moment. So we'll see. The other aspect to this is our immigrant brothers and sisters who come into America, and for some reason they, and now I'm not making a statement of absolute. I'm not saying all. I'm saying, from just conversations that I've had with so many African Americans, and really what I'm doing is voicing what I have heard. I'm voicing the opinions, the experiences that many African Americans have had, conversations that I've been privy to. I'm just expressing that. So take it in that spirit. Anyway, many times with the immigrant community, African Americans are made to feel unwanted. They're made to feel second class. They're made to feel as if they are not as Muslim as someone from Saudi Arabia or Pakistan or Egypt or, any other Muslim country. We are made to feel less. Our Islam is not as Islamic as theirs. Therefore, we are considered second class, treated as second class. And we all know that Islamically that's not correct. That where you're from does not define your Islam. It doesn't make you more Muslim than someone else that's from a traditional non-Muslim country. So when we come into stores, when we come into the shops, sometimes I've heard stories of experiences, rather, of being followed around, being mistreated. And there seems to be this, how do I want to put it? Sometimes immigrants ostensibly connect themselves to a white privilege. And I sort of understand where they get that from. When I was in college, I had to do a research paper. And I can't even off the top of my head remember the exact topic, but it involved, I had to interview immigrants. And when I would interview the immigrants, most of them were from Arab countries, Jordan, Egypt, so on and so forth. So I would ask them, what is your race? And they all said, we're white. And I said, you're white? Why do you think you're white? And they said, because when we came into the country, that's what the immigration officers told us to write on our paperwork. Wow. Okay. So now we know where that idea comes from. Apparently, it's official. When they come into the country, they're told to write white on their paperwork. Now, just like a child who's put into a new experience, that child sits back and watches interaction and learns proper interaction. They learn how to move and how to shake, what's proper, what's not proper, what's accepted, what's not accepted. So these immigrants who come from these various countries, who have now been told that they are white, they sit back and they watch the dynamics of the society and they fall in the line. So I can't necessarily say that it's all their fault, you know. And in the last video, I talked about social engineering. And this is a part of social engineering. It's a part. Social engineering, you know, entails setting up the status quo, setting up the stratification, the hierarchy, the social status within the society. And this is all part and parcel of social engineering. So when they come from whatever country they're from, they're told they're white. They sit back to watch and learn the dynamics of what exactly does that mean. What exactly do I get from that? Oh, this is how I act. Oh, this is who's second class. Oh, this is how they're treated. Some of them, because they don't want to go back to their own country so bad, or maybe they're just not religious. I don't want to put it all on, you know, maybe they're not religious. The proper Islamic understanding or attitude is not expressed, but they fall in line to where they are. They want to be here, so they fall in line as not to be seen as an outsider or someone that's not assimilating. Assimilating is a big thing. To feel, you know, to be seen as a person who is a part of the society. I belong here, you know. Many of them come from countries where maybe they were the second class citizen. So now the shoe's on the other foot and they fall in line. So this is a very, very multifaceted, leveled or dimensioned issue. Basically, I'm just giving people food for thought. Those who have a microphone, those who have a platform, those who have the ability to get the word out and to bring these issues to the forefront, so that these issues can be dealt with honestly. You know, the entire purpose of this is the rectification of the ummah. That's the whole point of this. You can't rectify that which you don't understand or that which you don't even acknowledge. We have to acknowledge that these issues are a reality. From that, then we can move into solutions. We can figure out, you know, how to get past it. You know, something that, again, I've heard a lot is that you don't see the white du'at going into the white communities and informing them of Islam. If it's happening, it's not being publicized. It's not something that we're hearing a lot about. If it's happening, I'm not saying it's not, but you don't really hear about it. I think that being able to go to your own people and talk to them, because they will receive you better than if I, you know, go into a more affluent white community, or even, you know, any class. I'm going to be viewed as an outsider. I'm going to be viewed as different. Anyone else that's not from them is going to be viewed as different. Therefore, the da'wah may very well be less effective. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be effective to some extent, but it will be more received or received better if it came from someone that they trust or someone that they believe is like them. Wait, you're white. Why did you become Muslim again? Boom. Hit them with the dawah, hit them with the tawheed, hit them with the why they should become Muslim. Versus someone who doesn't look like them that maybe they don't trust, and they may not really want to talk to begin with. So, you know, I'm just dropping a few lines, food for thought. A brother sent me a message and told me that I should somewhat touch on this topic. I don't want to say I'm like a DJ taking requests, but if I have the ability to speak on a topic or to maybe bring clarification to it, then, you know, inshallah, I will. And hopefully it's received well, it's understood. The spirit in which I give it, I hope is taken correctly, digested properly, and hopefully we can get to some solutions for these problems. You know, I don't jot down, maybe I should, because I'm sure sometimes I'm all over the place. Jot down ideas, jot down what I want to say, you know, but I sort of want it to be organic and to come from the heart as well. I don't want what I say to be scripted. I want it to be from that which is in the forefront of my mind and in the forefront of my heart. You know, we have racial issues in this country from its inception. African Americans, and I'll say it again, have been the target of systemic and institutional oppressions since day one in this country. From slavery to the black codes, black laws. If you don't know what that is, you can Google it. To Jim Crow, to mass incarceration, to the media onslaught of disparaging images of us, male, and black female. And these images and these opinions, you know, are sent worldwide. They're sent out via the media worldwide. So the world views us many times as second class, less than capable, less than educated, not worth, group of people. And this obviously is not true. I remember when I was in Egypt and I had an Egyptian brother. After work one day, he walked up to me and he said, "Can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Sure." He says, "What are the ends like in America?" And I'm using ends because I don't want to say the actual word. So hopefully you get my point of what he asked. He asked me that verbatim. What are the ends like in America? What are the ends like in America? Where would he get this from? And I asked him, I had to explain to him. My first inclination was to go in his mouth. But, obviously I didn't do that. That was my first inclination. But then I stopped and I thought about it. And I said, where would he get this verbiage from? Where would he get this idea from? And he says he sees it on TV and in the media. The image of us. How we are defined, how we are referred to. He said he got from the media, and that's what he thought we were called. So it's a worldwide movement that needs to be addressed. And I think it needs to be addressed first with the Muslims here, for us to grab it by the reins, grab a hold of it, deal with it, show unity, show concern, show sincerity, show love, live what we claim, live what Islam tells us to the best of our ability. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will aid us. I believe that he'll aid us and help to rectify and spread that throughout the diaspora of the world. So with that said, I just came back from the grocery store. And actually, I've spoken longer than I really wanted to. So, inshallah, everyone have a good day. May Allah rectify our situation, give us sincerity, give us true zeal and passion for this deen. And inshallah, let's get to work. Barakallahu fikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.